Okay, welcome back to another week of Tehillim, Shavua Tov. We are holding over here by a new one. This is Mizmor Tzadi Gimel, number 93. And we're moving along. This is actually a very short one. It's only about 5 psukim. We'll see if we can cover everything in one day. And as we normally do, we look at the introduction of Rabbi Foyer and his beautiful anthology of Tehillim. And he says like this, he brings some Rashi in the beginning, that this Tehillim that we're going to learn right now is dedicated to the Yemais HaMashiach, the times of Mashiach, when the Mashiach is going to come, and everybody will recognize the Ribbono Shel Olam. We live in a world, as we're going to see as we go through this, and we spoke about in the previous Tehillim, we live in a world where it's hard to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's hard to see that He's the one that is running everything. And one of the joys of the coming of Mashiach, which is why we will be filled with laughter and simcha and happiness, is because finally we'll be able to recognize and see that it's all Hashem. And he says that this is, as he's writing, this is a continuation of what we just finished saying in 92. And that is that when Mashiach is going to come, everyone will declare that Hashem is just, He is my rock, in whom there is no wrong. Remember, we mentioned in the previous Tehillim that in this world, it's very easy to make it look like that something is going wrong. Things are not working out the way that we would like it to. But at the end of time, when the Mashiach will come and everything will become clear in our eyes, then we'll be able to recognize that there is no wrong, and there is nothing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did that is Chalila, that has been to our detriment and to hurt us or the like. And that's why it says over here in this Tehillim, Geus Lavesh, which means that Hashem will don grandeur. Because in this world, it's very hard for the Malchus, for the kingdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be seen clearly. In this world, Hashem gets a bad rap. In this world, not everybody would like to believe in everything that is happening in their life is all the hand of Hashem. And so His grandeur is sometimes limited in our lifetimes, in history, and the like. But when Mashiach will come and suddenly everything will become clear, then we will be able to recognize the grandeur of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. And he also notes over here, and we'll see this in the Radak as well, that the nations of the world, their leaders are all arrogant people who believe in the Koichi V'Otzim Yadi. They believe in the power of themselves and their might and their armies and their tanks and all of their weapons, and they believe in the might of their nation. Mashiach is not going to be like that at all. When Mashiach will come, He's going to be a monarch that is noted for his anivus, his humility. And this will be a very big difference between the conquering that Hashem does of the entire universe, the leader that's going to be guiding us along the way, Mashiach, and all of the other nations that have risen up against us over the years. They are rooted in arrogance and in their own self-grandization. And Mashiach will be someone that is rooted in humility, and that's the way that we are going to come to the recognition of the grandeur of Hashem. A little bit further, he writes over here that this particular Tehillim is this Hashem robing Himself in the grandeur, is like one that's dressing themselves in their Shabbos finery, in their Shabbos clothing. And that's why this is the song that we read every day of the week. There's another song that we read at the end of davening. This Tehillim is the one that we read on Friday before Shabbos, to remind us as well that we are getting ready for Shabbos, and we are also going to dress ourselves in our finery in the right way, and that's going to be the grandeur, so to speak, that we have for the holiness of Shabbos. And he explains over here a very beautiful Pirkei of the Rebbe Lazar, who says like this: on the 6th day of creation, Hashem made Adam Arishon. He blew life into his nostrils, as we know, and he became with this divine soul, that Tselem Elohim. Adam was standing and he was looking around at this amazing creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made, and he was overwhelmed with the grandeur, with the loftiness, with the intricacies, with the greatness and the precision of everything that Hashem did. As he was singing Hashem's praises, so the Malachim, the angels, began seeing this very holy, angelic, godly individual, Adam Arishon, and they thought that Adam was actually HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. And the angels began praising Adam as if he was God. And then he said, why are you bowing to me? He said, let's go together and give tribute and pay tribute to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He is the one that is truly reigning in this world. And therefore, let us put him in his robe of grandeur, of majesty. And then Adam Rishon led all of the creatures in a song, and it was this song over here that Hashem is the one that is clothed and is robed in his majesty and his grandeur. And that is what Adam Rishon was able to accomplish on that first day of creation. It gets lost between then and now. And when Mashiach is going to come, Be'ez Hashem, so then his glory and his grandeur and everything is going to come back to the world, and we will be able to see Hashem once again for who he truly is. Says Rav Hirsch over here, Hashem Malach Geus Lavesh, Hashem has begun his reign, and he girded himself, or he clothed himself in majesty. Lavesh Hashem, Hashem has girded himself, oiz, with strength. He's Azar, Avtika in Tevil Baltimoit, and he has a certain strength that no one can withstand, and the world of men too will be firmly established and sway no more. Says Rav Hirsch over here, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu at this point in history will no longer just be the one that is on high, he's the lofty God. Rather, his majesty is going to be known down here in this world. Again, this is the struggle that we all live with every single day of our lives. Hashem is the creator. Hashem made the world. Hashem is running the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running every aspect of our life. That we understand. We have that emunah. But between the emunah that we have over here and the living with the belief in our hearts and recognizing and realizing this and living like this every single day, it's a very far distance that emunah has to travel inside of us. And therefore, says Rav Hirsch, you should know that even though that in this world all of that is concealed, and in this world you have, as we pointed out before, there are Mashiach moments that everybody has. You have moments, that epiphany moment where, oh, that's the Ribbono Shel Olam. Oh, that's why Hashem is doing what he's doing. Oh, now I understand that this is really all the workings of Hashem. Now I begin to recognize how everything is working out and fitting into this. We have those moments. But those moments are far and few from the frustrating moments that we have in life, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu's essence and the way that he runs the world is concealed from us. And too many times we go through life not seeing the hand of Hashem, not understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that is running everything, and that's where the frustration sets in, and that's where the disappointment falls in, and that's where the anger, and that's where the sadness, and that's where the anxiety, all those things happen because we don't realize and recognize it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is running things. However, the bracha of Mashiach is going to be, it's all going to be clear. There will no longer be a single doubt in anybody's mind, this is the hand of Hashem. Says Rav Hirsch, in this world he's God on high. He's up there, he's lofty, I believe in him, I know, he's a creator, he's a shaper, he's a former, he runs the world, I know all of that. But I'm not living with him in the midst of all mankind, where I see the grandeur and the glory and the majesty of Hashem constantly. When Mashiach will come, he will be seen. He will be heard. He will be understood. Hashem cannot be seen in this world, unfortunately, because many people fail to recognize Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like right in front of us, and everything that's going on in our life, it's all Hashem, and we choose not to see Hashem as the one that is running everything. And therefore, we struggle constantly in this world, because if a person would be a real maimin, they would be a real believer in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then everything that I'm going through, it's all Hashem. I'm not going through this on my own. I'm not responsible for everything. Somebody told me the other day they've been working on a certain business deal. And they said to me, I've done everything that I could do. I'll let Hashem do the rest. Which is a big statement for a person to make. I had other things to say to the person as well, but I did not say them. But the truth of the matter is that we don't run the world. We're not in control. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that is running the world, and the more that you recognize Him, and the more that you see Him, and the more that you realize what is going on, the more that this is going to be the revelation of Hashem. And he says like this, in this world, people did not understand that Hashem is the sole being who's capable of bringing salvation to a person. Okay, we believe, yes, Hashem can save me, and Hashem can do, and Hashem, we believe in all of that. We say it, and we can talk about it. But does a person believe it deep, 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 deep down inside of them that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's running the world, is running my life, He knows exactly what I'm going through, and He can bring the ultimate Yeshua, the ultimate salvation, whenever He wants. However, through the events of history, says Rav Hirsch, we see that He effectively demonstrated His wishes and His providence, and now He has been recognized by all men for all time to come. Meaning, in this world, we don't always take a step back and see everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done. When Mashiach will come and the whole world of its history will become revealed to us, then we'll be able to see, whoa, that was Hashem. And that war was HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this mishap was Hashem, and this that took place, everything was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I just didn't recognize in this world because my eyes were not trained enough to see the hand of Hashem. But now that I can take a step back, now that I'm not in the heat of the moment, now I'm able to recognize and see the Ribbono Shel Olam. And therefore he says that Ois his azar, this idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he girds himself with strength, that means that he stands revealed before man in all the invincible strength of his will, and it is clear that his goals cannot simply be dismissed as unimportant. Meaning, says Rav Hirsch, again, in this world we don't see that. We don't see the invincibility of the Ribbono Shel Olam. We don't see His might and His strength. Because everybody's claiming, if you look in the news, everybody's claiming that they're in charge of the world. Trump's in charge of this one, and Xing, whatever, is in charge of that one, and Iran is in charge of this, and America's in charge of this, and the Democrats are this, and the Republicans are this, and ICE is this, and so who's in charge? Everybody's taking responsibility, and everybody's taking their own honor and respect that I'm the one that's in charge. And so where's the Ribbono Shel Olam? We don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. At the end we'll see everything is Hashem. Man was doing whatever they were doing, but they just like puppets, they're being pulled by the strings, they're just doing what they're doing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that is doing actually everything. And at that time, when everything will become clear, we'll be able to finally understand that. The Radak says over here the following: Kol Eila HaMizmorim Ad the Dovid Mizmor, all of these psalms that we are reading over here, Hemasidim al Yemoisa Mashiach, they're all referring to the days that Mashiach will come, the future. V'kasher Yishlim Bezeh Mizmor, and these songs, I guess they will be completed at that time. Ki az yakiru kol ha'olam, because at that moment everybody in the world will recognize. Ki hu melech, He is the King, Hashem. ala koil, on everything. Hashem is the king on everything. A king is invincible. A king is all-powerful. A king is the one that is running the show. And everybody will recognize that. V'lo yizgai b'nei adam lefanov, and the people will no longer be yizgar, they will no longer be arrogant in front of him. K'moshama Nebuchadnezzar, like we find by Nebuchadnezzar, that wicked king, he was arrogant in front of Hashem. But it's not going to be like that anymore. V'az yakira kol, everybody will recognize Hashem. Kilo yilabesh malchus geus ki'im hakel levado. The only one that's going to be wearing the robes of majesty, the only one that's going to claim to be a leader of the world, the only one that we will recognize in truth is able to affect the world and mankind the way that he does and the way that he did, is Hashem. It won't be a president, it won't be a dictator, it won't be a tyrant, it won't be anything, it won't be the police, it won't be anything. It's only going to be Hashem. And in this world, because we're living in a physical world with human beings and everything around us, so we think that we have powers. And we think that we're calling the shots. And we think that we're making pivotal moves in the history of the world, that I'm going to go down in history as the one who did X, Y, and Z. Says the Radak, that's not true. That's what you think. But when Mashiach is going to come and everything will be revealed, you'll realize the only one who's wearing the robes of the kingdom of majesty is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even the kings of flesh and blood down here, they're just pawns in the world of Hashem. And therefore, this is what we're lacking, and that is what we will gain when he comes. He goes on and he continues, Only to HaKadosh Baruch Hu alone is the kingdom. The Oz Yisazer Oz, and then he will be girded with strength. V'tikon teva b'altimai ki lo yeshum shem asham oid margize aretz ki lo tiyeh oid milchama. There will no longer be enemies, there will no longer be battles, there will no longer be wars. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to reign supreme in the world. And that will be the beauty of the days of Mashiach. We won't have to worry anymore about the stress and the tension and the wars and the news. It's all gone. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the whole world is going to reach a place of peace and tranquility. The next verse, Nachain, Kis'acha me'az me'olam ata, your throne, Hashem, is established, and you are who are from everlasting. Says the Radak on these words, Nachain. What does it mean that it is proper? Az yakiru ki nachain kise malchuscha. Then we will notice, we will recognize that your throne is proper and in the right place. You were around this world before it existed. The ata berasalim, and you created the world. The Rambam has 13 principles of faith. I think number 4 is called Kadmus, that it's important for everybody to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu existed in this world before there was anything. That means that Hashem is the prior existence before anything else came. You have to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the source of all existence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that did exist. Hashem is everything. And therefore everything that we have in the world is coming only after Hashem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that brought everything into being. And Hashem is the one that is running everything. And therefore, since we recognize that and we see that, so then we can understand that everything that's happening in the world is because that's what Hashem wants. But again, as we pointed out, in our lifetimes, we are jaded in our emunah, and it's unclear what we're able to see, and therefore we don't understand that everything is the Ribono Shel Olam. But when Mashiach will come, and he will reveal himself, and he will be wearing the robes of majesty, and the kingdom will belong to him, and the throne of glory is only what Hashem himself is sitting on, then we'll be able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu clearly in this world. Says Rav Hirsch, from this moment forward, meaning when Mashiach will come, the throne of the kingdom of Hashem will be firmly established on earth. Even before, it's true, men laid the entire universe at Hashem's feet. but they still held back from him one tribute. Again, he's going to say, we're not hopeless in this world. We daven every day, keep mitzvahs, we learn Torah, we try to work on ourselves, become the best Jew that we can. It must be that we recognize as Hashem. You wouldn't do it if you didn't recognize Hashem, right? If I didn't believe in Hashem, then why would I keep His Torah? If I didn't believe in Hashem, then who am I davening to? If I didn't believe in Hashem, then why would I do mitzvahs? Because you have to believe in Hashem before you can do anything. So it must be that we do believe in Hashem, and it must be that we have some kind of a connection where there's a revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives, limited, because he's saying that there is, the people are holding back one tribute to Hashem in this world, and that is ourselves. And as he writes over here, the small handbreadth of their own hearts. That I will give over myself completely to the Ribbono Shel Olam, that far I'm not going to go. That I'm going to do everything for Hashem, that much I can't do. If I believed 100% in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and I saw Hashem completely, so then whatever Hashem says, I'll do. But we're always fighting this internal battle. On one hand, we believe in Hashem, we know what it says in the Torah, we know what He wants us to do. On the other hand, my body and my desires and my concerns and my worries and everything, it's getting in the way. And as a result of that, I can't give myself fully over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I might be a quarter of the way there. I might be, maybe if I'm lucky, halfway there, but I'm not all in to this way of life and this service of Hashem. The best I could do, that's what I'm going to do in this world. When Mashiach will come, says Rav Hirsch, so then a person gives up everything to Hashem. Then I'm ready to be able to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all about you. I recognize you. I see you. I understand. I'm giving up my entire self to you, Hashem. And he writes further, and he says that from they acknowledged that Hashem is God, that's for sure, but they did not conceive of Him as their God. There's one thing recognized that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the God of the universe, and that He's running the world. I recognize that. But that I can recognize that Hashem is my personal God in everything that I am doing, that's a much higher level. And that we're not privy to all of the time in this world. Again, we have moments, we have revelations, we have those strong emotional feelings where I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that is watching over me and running my world. I know that. But it's not constant all of the time. And therefore I travel in this world, I feel often I'm on my own. I'm doing things, I forget that Hashem is the one that's in charge. You know, if I get involved in this and I get involved in that, and I feel that if I just do this hishtadlus and this effort and make that effort, things are going to work out. But if Hashem doesn't want it to work out, it's not going to work out. And if Hashem does want it to work out, even without so much effort on your behalf, it's still going to work out. Because that's what Hashem wants. And therefore, as he's pointing out over here, yes, in this world I recognize Hashem. But I see that He's mine? Not always. When Mashiach is going to come, that recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be incredible. And it will be, the supremacy of Hashem amongst mankind is going to be undeniable. And then we will see clearly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from all of us. Nasu Gimel, the third verse. Nasu Naharais, the floods, Hashem of God. Nasu Naharais, the floods have lifted up Kolam, their voices. Kolam Yisu, Naharais the Chayam, and the floods lift up their fall. So what does this mean over here? The floods, lifting up voices, what are we referring to? So Rav Hirsch writes, the floods over here is a simile for the powerful nations that swell with pride and work destruction in this world. There's flood waters that are going on throughout history, says Rav Hirsch, and those are all the nations that are swelling with pride and their loud voices and their noise that goes on in this world, and they're trying to defeat the world and Klal Yisrael and the people, and they're trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. However, they're just raising their voices noisily, and they're making an uproar here in this world. However, it's only temporary, and it only lasts down here. Because, as he writes in the next verse, Mikolos Maim Rabbi Madirim, the breakers of the ocean grew mightier from the roar, Mishbere Yam, the roar of the ocean, Adir B'Morim Hashem, Hashem alone is mighty on high. Which means you might make noise, and you might roar, and you might come against the Jewish people in every single generation, as we know, they're going to come. But that's only temporary here in this world. At the end of the day, the mightiest roar of all is going to be the only true power that is in the earth, and that is the Ribbono Shel Olam. And he'll unite all of the other nations under his rule, which means even though that in this world they think that they're powerful, in this world they can go against Hashem, in this world they can fight against Klal Yisrael if they would like to, at the end of the day we will recognize there's only Hashem Echad, there's one God, and that one God is mightier than all of the other nations in the world, and nothing can conquer that Hashem, and therefore Hashem alone is the one that is mighty on high, as it says. So again, in this, we struggle to see all of that here in our lifetime, in this world, and why we're davening for Mashiach to come, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting all of these centuries and all these thousands of years, is because we know that when He does come, everything will become clear. Every nation that ever rose up against us will see why they were able to. Every destruction of the Jewish people will see why Hashem did what He did. Don't think that Hitler, Yamach Shemai, is the one that brought destruction to the Jewish people. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not want, hard to understand, and we cannot understand it in this world, but if HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not want that to happen, it never would have happened. When Mashiach will come, we will realize it was not Hitler, it was all the doing of Hashem. And then we'll be able to see behind the scenes all the wheels that were turning during all of that, which brought Mashiach closer and closer and closer. And that's really, says Rav Hirsch, this is what we are waiting for in our lives. Says the Radak on this verse over here, Adir b'Morim Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lofty in the heavens. V'im yu adirim Hashem b'Morim adirhu. Aleihem v'yipelim v'yashpilim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take all those people that thought they were mighty, all those nations that they thought they're great. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come and He will lower every single one of them. He will humble them. He will destroy them, He will put them in their place, and once again we'll see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's throne of glory and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's power and might is what counts on top. The last verse over here. Your testimonies have proven infinitely faithful, and they are the name of sanctuary truly befits your house, Hashem La'orech Yamim, for all the length of days. What does this mean over here? Says Rav Hirsch, the universal worship of Hashem, which will be part of the coming of His kingdom on earth, have been heralded and advanced long ago by the institutions of divine law that come under the category of Eidos, meaning there are testimonies and there are witnesses, and there are memorials of the divine law, which is all of the mitzvahs testify to the Ribbono Shel Olam. In this world, not everybody can appreciate that and see all of that. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdom will become universal, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be the king over every single man and every single woman and child and every single nation that there is, and the world is going to run based on what Hashem wants only, and we'll be able to see that clearly. So then we will be able to see how just like then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be running the world based on His Eidos, based on His testimonies, the Torah, so too we'll be able to recognize and realize that everything that was running in this world all along was based on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah as well. Now he says, interestingly enough over here, the first and foremost of these institutions, of course, is Shabbos. Meaning, as we pointed out, I think from the last Tehillim, that the day of the week in which a person is actually able to recognize Hashem clearly, even though 6 days of the week you might not be able to, is Shabbos Kodesh. There we said the world shuts down, the noise of the world becomes in the background, we have a certain level of ruchnius, of spirituality we do not have the other 6 days of the week, and therefore we can just sit back and we can begin to examine, and we can begin to view our week, and we can view the events of the world around us, and we can begin to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Shabbos, as we say, is what's called Me'ein Olam Haba. It is a me'ein, it is like a microcosm of the world to come. That means that every single Shabbos that a person has in their life, if you tap in, so you are entreated to the amunah, to the faith, to the clarity that a person will have in that world to come when Mashiach is going to arrive and going to be here. And therefore, Shabbos itself in this world is a way that we're able to get to these testimonies of Hashem. And therefore he writes over here that Shabbos stands out first and foremost of these testimonies, and they accompany the individual throughout his stay on earth through all the changes that life may bring. It's a very beautiful idea. Torah and Mitzvos is not only when everything is going great in your life. Torah and Mitzvos is not only when everything is comfortable and pleasant and it's easy to keep. A person goes through 80, 90, 100 years in this world, and their life is fluctuating and changing all of the time. And often we feel that things are not constant in our life. Our emotions are not constant, our relationships are not constant, the weather is not constant, the ruach, the spirit of the world politically and globally is not constant. Nothing is constant. Says Rabbi, yes there is. It's called the mitzvos. The mitzvahs are constant. No matter whether you're having the best day or the worst day of your life, it's a day of mitzvahs. No matter whether the world is at peace or at war, there are mitzvahs to do. No matter you're in a good mood or in a rotten, horrible mood, mitzvahs are constant. And when a person begins to recognize that, so then it gives you something to plug into every single day of your life. And if we end up unplugging from the world of Torah and Mitzvahs, we're only doing a disservice to ourselves. I can only serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu when everything is good. When the weather is right, and the air conditioning is perfect, and my stomach is not growling, and I didn't sneeze when I woke up this morning, and everything is going great, everything is good, then I can serve Hashem. No, it doesn't work like that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us something constant. He gave us something to be plugged into all of the time. He gave us a world of Torah and of mitzvahs which allows us throughout our personal history from 0 till 100. He gave us something that will keep us going. It's like the fuel in the engine. It's like the plugging in the electric car. It's like the gas in the tank. It's the food that you need to eat. Nobody can live for so many days without food and without drink. Your body will shut down. So I need constant nourishment, constant sustenance. Says Rav Hirsch, guess what? In this world, your constant sustenance for your neshama, for your life, is Torah and mitzvahs. And the more that you recognize that, and you see that Hashem gave it to us. Of course, there's different times of the year where there's different things. Shabbos is only once a week. Pesach is only once a year. Shavuot, Sukkot is once a year. I understand that. And there's the 3 weeks that are coming up. It's one period of the time once a year. I understand. But the day-to-day involvement that I'm able to have in a world of mitzvahs, the davening and the blessings and the tzedakah and the chesed and the brachas and everything that I'm involved with every single day, Hashem says, I did this for you, so that you should have a constant hookup between me and between you. And that will allow you to endure everything that is going on in your life. That will give you something to look forward to every single day. It will give you something to do all of the time. Unfortunately, it works out the opposite. When we're having a bad day, which is the day that we need HaKadosh Baruch Hu the most, those are the days that we're in such a bad mood, our Torah and our mitzvahs suffer the most. Everybody can think to themselves, this is how it works. If everything is good, so you know what? I can daven today. And I can say a bracha. And I can do chesed. And I can give tzedakah. And I can have good midos. I can be nice. Everything. Everything is good. But that's the least when you need HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because everything is good. When you're having a rough day, when you're having a hard time, when you're going through a difficult spot in your life, those are the days and the weeks and the months and the years you need Hashem more than any time else in your life. And Hashem says, I've given you opportunities. I'm giving you Torah. I'm giving you mitzvahs. I'm giving you Shabbos. I'm giving you davening. Why when you get angry you don't daven to Hashem? Why when you get upset you don't say brachas? Why is it that when you are in a bad mood you don't do chesed? You don't see the person who's in need? Why? Those are the days that you need HaKadosh Baruch Hu the most in your life. Says Rav Hirsch over here, they accompany, the mitzvahs accompany a person throughout their stay on earth, through all the changes that life may bring. And they serve as faithful companions to all of mankind throughout the centuries. All the Yidden that in the most... I'm sure that I told over this story, but there used to be a Yid that lived here in Los Angeles. His name was Bart Stern. He was a Holocaust survivor. And I heard him speak once at a Sudas Haidah, a meal of gratitude for the day that he was released from the concentration camps. And he said over, how do we survive? How do we survive in Auschwitz? How do you survive in Auschwitz? Only two ways, he said. We looked for every mitzvah that we could perform, and we looked for every act of chesed we could do for another Jew that was there. You're in Gehenna. You're in the darkest place in the world. And you realize there's something that's constant in your life, and if you tap in and you plug in, that's what's going to get you through. And he said, that's how we survived. Every Yom Tov that was coming up, we tried to figure ways, how could we keep that Yom Tov? Every Shabbos that was coming up, what can we do to keep that Shabbos? Every mitzvah opportunity that there was, how are we going to do that mitzvah? That's what was preoccupying their thoughts. Not the death and the stench that was all around them. That was a given, you can't avoid that. But they were connecting themselves to a higher world and to a higher existence. And this, Rav Hirsch is saying, is the power of the Torah and the power of the mitzvahs. They accompany us everywhere that we go in life. People think that when they go on vacation, so the Torah takes a vacation as well. And it doesn't. You need Torah on vacation as much as you need it when you're in your own home. I was once years ago at a Pesach program, and davening was quite brisk in that place. Very, very fast. It wasn't a particularly Haredi program, but there were enough yeshiva bachim and avrechim that were learning in Koila and rabbanim that were there that we could not handle this davening. It was like you just start putting in tefillin and they're finished with davening already. It was too hard for us. So we asked the people in charge of the program, could we make a second minyan in the morning so that we could daven a little bit slower? It was Chol Hamoed Pesach, there's Hallel, there's everything. We wanted to really enjoy davening. They said, no problem. If you can arrange a minyan, you can daven whatever is 8 o'clock, no problem. So at that meeting, at that program, so Hanan Gordon was there as well, and he got up after Mariv that night and he says, tomorrow morning, he says we're going to make a second minyan for those of you that would like to daven a nicer, slower davening. He said, Rabbi said, we might be on vacation, but the Torah never goes on vacation, and we have to make sure that we are davening properly. Okay, so the next morning, about 12 or 13 of us gathered for the slow minyan, and there was 2 or 3 old men who came in. They didn't realize what they were getting themselves into. They didn't know that it was a slow minyan. And they're in the back, and they're going out of their minds. Everything is taking slow, and we're going slow. I think I even led the davening that day, and I was going super slow, hallel, everything. We get to Kriyas HaTorah, and it's already like, we're already going a good hour into the davening. And these guys start screaming in the back, Schnell, Schnell! Schnell in Yiddish means quick, quick, quick! And then one of them yells out, omelets! Yeah, the omelet bar is going to close. Schnell, quick, you got to hurry up. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's not the way that it works. When you're in your house, there's a Torah and there's mitzvahs. When you're in the shul, there's Torah and mitzvahs. When you're at Yom Tov, it's Torah and mitzvahs. When you're on the road, there's Torah and mitzvahs. When you're traveling, when you're on business, it's Torah and mitzvahs. Everywhere you go. And that holds us strong. And that keeps us connected and keeps us together with the Ribbono Shel Olam. And that is something that will follow us li'orech yamim, for the length of days, which means in this world and the world to come. Even when Mashiach will come, we'll be able to do mitzvahs. We might not be able to grow the way that we grow in this world. We might not be able to hit the zenith of struggling to do a mitzvah the way that we can in this world. But mitzvahs in this world will serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that world, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Not to forget the gift and the bracha that He has given to us. I'll just finish off here with two more ideas. The Radak writes, what does it mean, Eidoi Secha, your testimonies? Hema devarim aksuv al yedei neviecha. These are the words that were written through your neviim, your prophets. Hameidim al malchusecha. They are made, they testify about your malchus, your kingdom. Yiskaimu az ma'od, that is going to endure forever. Va'amar ma'od. Why does it say ma'od over here? Very much. Kloimar. Because when Mashiach will come, it will be ma'od, it will be so clear, so very clear to everybody, nobody will have any doubts in their heart anymore that there's a Ribbono Shel Olam, that He's running the world, that He runs my world, that He's involved with me, and it's all up to Hashem. There will no longer be any doubts the way that we live in this world. We believe and we don't believe. Noach, Tzaddik, Noach, who was a righteous man of his generation, it says that at the end, when the flood came to the world, Noach did not go into the teva, into the ark right away. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to, so to speak, push him in to the ark. Now, he's 120 years building an ark. He knows that the flood is coming. HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised him there's going to be a flood if the people don't do tshuva. He's 120 years, he built the teva, the ark. No one did tshuva. Of course the flood's going to come. And Hashem said, today is the day the flood is going to come, and the rain begins to fall, and Noach standing outside. Go inside the ark, the flood is coming. So Hashem pushed him in, so to speak. Says Rashi over there, Noach was mikatnei amana. He was from the small people of Amunah. Hemin v'lo yamin, he believed, but he didn't believe. Noach, Ish Tzaddik, the righteous man of the generation, he believed, but he didn't believe. He believed, yes, he believed in Hashem. Hashem said there's going to be a flood and everything, but he didn't believe 100% that Hashem is going to follow through with what he did. So therefore, he's called Mikatnei Amana, from the people of small Amunah, small faith. Says the Radak, at that time, when Hashem's presence is going to be revealed in the world, there will be no longer be such a thing of Katnei Amana, small people of faith. Everybody's going to believe in Hashem, please suffer without any doubts. And then he goes on to say, Lebeischa, to your home, your house, which is going to endure forever. That's talking about the third Beis HaMikdash. It'll be a beautiful, glorious, holy place forever. It will never be destroyed. When the third Beis HaMikdash is built, it will never be destroyed. And it will last forever and ever and ever. And then he writes, what is the language of Na'ava? Na'ava really means like a beautiful, beautiful structure. he says you could read this word in a different way. Yesh lefarash nave taiva. Nave nun vav aleph hey is really the root over there is the same as taiva, as desire. What does the Beis Hamikdash and desire have to do with each other? Tava v'cheshek, it's desire and yearning. Kloimar, shekol adam yis'ava v'yichashek, every person will desire and yearn. Lebeischa, for your house, the Beis Hamikdash, shu kodesh la'arech yamin, it will be sanctified and glorified forever and ever and ever. That's going to be the ruts, and that's going to be the desire that's burning inside the hearts and the souls of every single one of us. When that time will come, everybody's just going to want one thing: Beis Hamikdash. Because that will be a place of ruchnius, that will be a place of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that will be a place of the Hashras HaShechina. The Shechina is going to come and dwell in this world, and we're going to have it la'arech yamim forever. It will never be destroyed. We live in a post-Beis Hamikdash world. 2,000 years already. So is it any wonder that we struggle with our emunah? Is it any wonder that we struggle in our avodas Hashem? Is it any wonder that we struggle in our mitzvah? Of course, it shouldn't be a wonder to anybody. When there was a Beis Hamikdash in the world was a different place. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was revealed himself differently. It was, the ruchnius was palpable, it was real. In a world with no Beis Hamikdash, no Kohanim, no Leviim, no Korbanos, no sacrifices, no Shechina, no Avodah, no service in the base. Of course, it's a different world. And on top of all that, we're exiled from our land 2,000 years. We're living in Los Angeles, California, of all places. Not even LA, Tarzana. We're in the middle of nowhere. So is it any wonder that I don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere that I turn? Is it any wonder that I don't feel Hashem in all of my tefillahs and all of my prayers and all my mitzvahs? Shouldn't be a wonder. But that's not an excuse. We have to keep pushing ourselves through in the not Mashiach world. We have to keep pushing ourselves in the not Beis Hamikdash world, and eventually we're going to get to that place. Mashiach will come, and then that Nis'ava will all desire and yearn that Hashem brings down the Beis Hamikdash, and He does it in such a way that it will last the Arich Yomim, it will last forever and ever and ever. I want to just end off with the words of Rabbi Gamliel Rabinovich over here, and he says like this. He says, in this last verse that we have, it says that Hashem will last la'arich yamim for eternity. Says Rav Gamliel, Hamakir ba'akar brur, when you recognize Hashem clearly, everything that's happening in your life is coming from none other than Hashem Himself. And you don't think that it's coming because of other natural reasons in the world. You will merit to have a length of days. What does that mean? If you recognize that everything that's coming that's happening in your life is all directly from Hashem, and there's no other reason why it's happening to you, even though it looks like, well, this is the cause of this and this is the cause of that. No, it's all Hashem. So he writes, you could be zeicha, you could merit to have a long life and good years as a result. Why? And he says like this, Ki yadu, we know chayloim rabin, there are many sicknesses in this world, haboim al that come upon a person, nigromim loy machmas tsar v'agmas nefesh mitzaroisav haboim alav, because of all of the suffering and the pain that a person feels from the tsaros, from the difficulties that come upon him. Says Rav Gamliel, there's something called, I guess we would call it, psychosomatic sickness, which comes to a person when they are overwhelmed with the difficulties that they have in their life, and it puts them into a very bad mental, emotional space. But if you would know clearly, everything that's happening to you, is directly from Hashem. Don't think it's because, well, this person did this, and because the world is going like this, and because this didn't work out like this. No. Everything is Hashem. Tamid chushroi b'simcha. When you recognize that everything in your life is coming directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you will constantly be living a life of simcha, of joy. And your mind will be tranquil and at ease. And someone who lives a life of joy, internal joy, and peace of mind, they will be saved from many difficult sicknesses. Fine. Second thing. Says of Gamliel, I'm just giving you basic medical advice. If you want to be a healthy individual, be happy with what Hashem does in your life. If you want to not have the ulcers and the aches and the pains and the stiff joints and all these different things, recognize that everything that's happening in your life is coming from Hashem. Many, many years ago, must go back about 25 years ago, I believe, we were in Eretz Yisrael for Sukkot, and we went to visit Rav Scheinberg Zatzal. Scheinberg was from the Gedolei Yisrael. He wore, if you ever seen pictures, about 100 pairs of tzitzis, and it was like a mound of holiness. He wore his tefillin all day long. He was a massive Talmud. It was a very holy person. When you walked into his apartment, you could feel the presence of the Shekhinah there. So my mother-in-law at that time was suffering from Crohn's disease, as she did for many years of her life. And we took her to Rav Scheinberg to get a bracha. And we came into the room, and we got brachas for ourselves, for the kids, and we shared with him, my mother-in-law has Crohn's. Could he give my mother-in-law a bracha that she should have health and a refuah shlema? So before he gave her a bracha, maybe he gave the bracha first, but then he told my mother-in-law, he told her, only eat when you're besimcha, when you're happy. Because a person that eats when they're in a bad mood, and when they're stressed out, and when they're tense, he told her, it's not good for your intestines. Make sure that when you eat, you're always happy and you're relaxed. And that will be a healing in and of itself for your Crohn's. That's what he's saying over here. He's saying over here that a person has so many things going on in their life, and when they come crashing down on the person, what do? We end up getting upset. But if you realize that everything that's happening is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you stay besimcha. And if you stay happy, and you stay calm, and your mind is lucid and it's relaxed, and it believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He's the one that's doing everything, then the chaloim, the sicknesses, and the stress, and the tension, all these things, they stay away. The indigestion, the headaches, the migraines, the aches, the pains, the this, the aching, it goes away. Because I am not allowing the things of this world to weigh down on me, because I realize Hashem is the one that's doing everything. What am I going to learn from this situation? Okay, that's another story. How am I going to grow from this? That's another story. But if I'm mekabel, if I accept that everything is from Hashem, so then that's how he's learning over here. You'll have la'arich yamim, you'll have a good and a healthy and a long life, all the days of your life as Hashem. So once again, this is one of the songs over here that we do it on Friday, and we also say it on Shabbos itself, because Shabbos is that me'ein olam haba, is that one day that we have to be able to live in that world. We're able to recognize that everything is really all coming from Hashem. Okay, so we finished Tzadi Gimel number 93, and the next week in Yetz Hashem we will start Tzadi Daled number 94. Have a wonderful week, everyone.